Hey everybody, it's Jack.
And Owen.
And this is Joe and the mic. I'd like to thank you all for tuning into our first episode today. We'll be talking about some very interesting topics today concerning freedom. I'd like to thank our guest, Nathan Riker, for joining us. Okay, so Nathan, I have a few questions. Our first is, can people be trusted to handle an unlimited range of information and ideas without any government intervention?
Well, I'd say yes, because it's really up to the viewer of what information and what opinions and views they intake as, well, their opinions are their own, as the saying goes, to each their own, really.
Okay. Also, have the courts, do you think, provided schools and students with a useful set of guidelines for identifying the limits of student speech rights?
Well, yeah, I'd say so. Generally, in school handbooks, they have an extensive array of what students should be able to say, what they shouldn't be able to say in the classroom. Same goes for teachers, as teachers generally aren't allowed to say most of their opinions, as well, students are a very susceptible age where they're able to learn a lot. That's why they're so good at learning, and that's generally why the teachers are encouraged not to share their opinions, because students, of course, learn a lot.
So do you think these guidelines are right? Would you keep the same?
I'd say for the most part, but I really think that students should be able to speak their mind about certain things more and not be restricted when it comes to certain topics.
Okay, another one. Do you think the right to speech should be absolute?
I'd say pretty much. Of course, there's certain things that cross the boundary of what shouldn't be said, like, a person shouldn't be able to make fun of another person because of their beliefs, their appearance, their sexual orientation. So, of course, it really is up to the person of what they think that they should be able to say.
Another question now. This is more concerning marketing. So, in schools, districts, and around schools, usually you can find many gas stations, correct? So, and what I've been seeing as I've been walking around lately is huge cigarette ads and huge things kind of displaying to little children with bright colors and everything about how, like, cigarettes are cool or stuff. Do you think this is okay?
Definitely not. Cigarettes are very dangerous, and they really shouldn't be marketed towards a younger group of people, as well. That's just encouraging the next generation to put their own lives at risk. Really, there should be laws against this because it's just not right.
Okay, another question concerning cigarettes and nicotine. There's been a recent study showing that vaping across the nation has become an epidemic for younger children. Now, do you think that vaping companies should be forced to stop producing vape pens and vape cartridges and whatnot?
I feel like they shouldn't stop because it's still a legitimate thing, but definitely not, sell it to children, market it towards children, much like cigarettes. Cigarettes do have certain laws about it, and I think vape should have to follow the same guidelines.
Now, do you think they should not be able to put flavors in their vapes?
It's really the preference of the person. Of course, the flavors generally would bring in more children because, of course, they want to try the thing. But, it's just a matter that they should really just make it so children can't get a hold of it.
So almost a year ago today, going back to our second question, the courts provided schools and students with a useful set of guidelines for identifying the limits of student speech right. Kind of going to the teacher side of this, almost a year ago today, a middle school teacher showed a music video that was pro-gay without any of the knowledge of the parents, and it was more of like a documentary music video type of shindig, and it said some conservative Christians parents, and they voiced a concern to the middle school, and the middle school basically just told them that they can't fire the teacher, but do you still think it was right for the teacher to show the video without the knowledge of the parents, or without even knowledge of the students? Like, the teacher didn't ask if it was okay for the students. She just showed it during one of her lessons, and people were really upset about this. And they're even more upset that the teacher was not fired.
I mean, I'd say there's nothing against the teacher showing it, just possibly he or she should have given permission slips, or at least told the students beforehand, before showing it, like, if you're against this, just leave the room and then come back in once we're done. 'Cause especially, I mean, like, if we have to sign permission slips to watch the B movie in class, I feel like there should have been some sort of forewarning about this.
Okay, so another question relating to that. Do you think the teacher should have been fired?
Oh, probably not. I mean, sure, he didn't inform the students or the parents of the students, but I mean, he didn't really do anything wrong. All he did was show a video.
What kind of concerned me, and I don't know, it's kind of sad because it was the teacher didn't even ask her higher ups too. Like, she didn't ask them administration, but she's still not she's not getting in trouble for this. She's just being shooken off like it's every day. So, it's kind of sad.
I do feel like she should have gotten some sort of, like, green signal or just something from her higher ups, like at least the principal at the very least, maybe even the guidance counselor, because, I mean, obviously, normally you shouldn't be able to show that, but there's nothing really against her. I don't have anything against her.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on our show today, Mr. Nathan Riker. I hope you have a nice day.
Oh, you too. It's an honor being here.
Thank you. Okay, now moving on to our next guest, the very smart and wise Oliver Klutch. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we're going to be giving you some questions about personal rights and stuff like that. So, do you think total freedom is good?
What is your definition of total freedom?
Well, say you can kind of say whatever you want, do whatever you want, because, you know, it's your life, like, buy whatever you want.
I say within reason. I believe there should be a common set of moral grounds that people should follow. For instance, I feel like total freedom should not include, like, the freedom to kill whoever you want, or to beat whoever you want, or to be violent and negative and hurt whoever you want. Obviously, I don't think this is okay. I do believe, however, that people should be able to hold their own opinions, hold their own beliefs, and they should be able to advocate for their own beliefs, but obviously within reason.
Okay, thank you.
What comes to mind when you hear the word freedom?
I would say that freedom is a lack of perceived limitations. I say perceived because I think that freedom is subjective, so it means different things to different people. For instance, if you were, like, freedom would mean different things to different people. So, like, freedom of speech might mean a different thing to one person than the other. Obviously, I feel like that is made clear.
Okay, how important is freedom for you? And given the possibility, would you fight for someone else's freedom?
I would say that for me, I feel like for me, freedom to fulfill my ultimate purpose is extremely important, and even higher than, for me, since it's subjective, since it's perceived in that definition, it is the most important. And another person's freedom is also extremely important, but I feel like there's not really a limitation. I feel like there's not really a difference between my concept. Well, can you repeat that question?
Okay, the second part of that is, and given the possibility, would you fight for someone else's freedom?
Okay, well, yeah, then that makes it much more clear. Yes, I would fight for someone else's freedom.
Okay. Finally, how far would you go for your own freedom?
I would say that if my freedom is my ultimate purpose in life, then I would go infinitely far.
Thank you. Good answer. Good answer. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on today, Mr. Oliver Klipsch.
Thank you, it was an honor.
Yep, thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay.